Hello, welcome. Only 2 more to go after this, we're so close. Intro, here we go. So, I'm doing a series of videos where I introduce each of the characters in my project Spectrum and show speed paints of me drawing their base sprites. Spectrum is a visual novel styled YouTube series I'm working on that depicts the lives of the 10 main characters. The original base concept for Spectrum was looking at characters with specific color themes and seeing what they got in common, what trends do I see. And using those similarities, I tried to create a character that reflected them while also still being unique and interesting. While the characters all have their own lives, they all interact with one another, and the story is about the chaotic things they get up to. This video is going to be all about White, the 8th one in the lineup. White was an interesting color to look at for character themes. White as an entire theme wasn't super common, but white-haired characters weren't uncommon. Overall, it was most common to have white outfits with a different color for hair. Unfortunately for me, it was kinda tough to pick out similarities when it came to white hair. Now when it came to having white outfits, those definitely had some similarities. The characters that wore all white were frequently the more elegant or pretty characters, like they were meant to be more dainty or professional somehow. I guess the idea is that white is seen as a pure color, so wearing all white signifies elegance. Sometimes white was used to represent innocence too, which was interesting. There was like a guarantee that if you had a white outfit, your hair was a different color. Probably because all that white would be overkill. But that's the whole point of what I'm doing here, so overkill it is. So I decided a more dainty outfit would be cute for this, since I didn't have many of those. I also thought I'd tap into the more cute territory with him as a character, since I didn't really have anyone but one who fit that. I thought it'd be nice to reference both the professional look and the innocence look with him. He's also the kind of guy to follow rules all the time, so even though he works from home, he still dresses nicely. He also just likes to look nice for Green, who he lives with. Similarly to Brown, I wanted to pick a species where being white was relevant to him, so he's an Arctic fox. Though this means he actually has some fur that turns brown in warmer seasons, but this is only when it gets really hot for him. So onto what he's like as a person. White is a pretty shy person and doesn't talk much. He gets nervous talking to other people and would much rather listen to others talk than do it himself. He's quiet and tends to not speak up much unless he really feels the need to. That being said, he does enjoy being social and likes to hang out around the others while they're talking to each other, even if he's not talking himself. He likes seeing the others interact and have fun, especially when Green is involved. He doesn't like to see Green stressed out, but he does like when he engages with everyone. Unfortunately, he doesn't really hang around the others often because he's always working. He spends most of his day in his office unless he's helping Green with something, so it's actually not often he's present for the others' antics. He wants to be responsible and do what he's supposed to do, but it does make him a little sad that he can't be around everyone else much. Overall, he's a pretty selfless person that is always looking for ways to be useful if he can be. It's just his nature to want to help others whenever possible. He's a very kind person. When he's not working or taking care of Green, he likes to decorate things. He adds frills, lace, and rhinestones to things he uses, like notebooks, containers, sometimes even pens. He likes to make stuff pretty, especially things he uses frequently for work. He also likes to do this with clothes. He will sew lace, frills, buttons, and other pretty things onto his clothes, mostly shirts. He doesn't know how to sew anything complex, but he's good at adding on to things. Also, when his workload isn't composed of a lot of reading, he likes to read books. So if it wasn't obvious, White spends a lot of time with Green. They are very close friends, and White is also Green's caregiver. He helps Green with things around the house, and he helps Green with taking care of himself. He takes care of things like laundry, cooking, and cleaning when Green doesn't have the strength to do it himself. He also makes sure Green is on time with his medications, and he helps Green with exercises and stretches. But outside of the less fun stuff, They also spend time doing things like gardening, taking walks, reading, and visiting bakeries Green likes. If White isn't busy with work, he's probably with Green. They are very comfortable with one another and love spending time together. They always prioritize each other and are always looking out for each other. It goes without saying that White is always willing to help Green with gathering, and it's actually part of his job to do so. He and Green work for the same company, and the company also pays White to take care of Green as his caregiver too. White doesn't always join the others when they help Green, but he's more likely to if his workload is lesser or if it's the weekend. He doesn't mind it and is always happy to be around Green for whatever reason. Out of everyone, including Green, White has known Blue the longest. They went to high school together. They are pretty close friends and talk often. White is the reason Blue began helping Green in the first place. Blue hangs out at Green and White's house pretty frequently just to sit around and take naps. Their friendship is at a point where Blue can stop by the house to hang around without White even knowing he's there, and it's no big deal. He does that a lot. When White has the time to hang out with him, they just sit around and chat about random things, maybe with some snacks. They have a very gentle and quiet friendship. Green and Blue are the only two White is really close to, but he's not on bad terms with anybody. It's pretty much impossible to be on bad terms with White. He's too nice. If you're mean to him, he'll cry, and not even Gray has the nerve to be harsh to him. Gray is actually willing to tone down the attitude when he's talking to White, but then he'll go right back to being a dick when he turns around. It's a little funny. Violet is nice to White and respects him a lot. They get along well, especially since Violet and Green are so close. White doesn't mind talking to Violet, and Violet's weirdness tends to go over his head a lot of the time. He's got no issues with the warm trio, and likes when they're around because it keeps things lively and fun. He thinks Red can take things too far sometimes, but he also thinks he wouldn't be himself if he didn't. He likes when Orange hangs around and plays music, and he trusts him to keep everything under control. And he thinks Yellow is silly and fun to be around. White is just too good of a person to have beef with. Even Gray, who thinks he's too sensitive, still shuts his mouth occasionally to avoid hurting his feelings. Overall, White is just a little guy. For his background, White had a pretty normal-ish life for the most part. He was raised by his mom and dad, and he had good relationships with them both. He struggled quite a bit with things growing up and had a lot of really specific problems that got in the way of him doing well in school. He had trouble focusing, he'd get very overwhelmed when things didn't go a certain way, and he had problems with socializing with the other kids. These problems only worsened with age, but his parents were patient with him and did what they could to help him get through things without removing him from the environment. They didn't want him to be isolated and felt like being around other people was important for him, and they didn't want to take that from him. White struggled quite a bit, but he managed with his parents' help. He respects his parents a lot and is very grateful for how they took care of him. They weren't perfect, but they did what they could based on what they knew. His parents helped him with getting his own place when he and Green were looking for some place to share. His parents are also on good terms with Green and always talk to him when they visit. And finally, his character theme that's been playing. I wanted his theme to feel wintry and twinkly. It's pretty upbeat and fun, but it's gentle. It references him being a snow animal, of course, but it's meant to reflect his innocent and hidden playful side. He can be bouncy and fun when he's comfortable and not working, and I wanted his theme to sort of touch on that. I didn't want it to reflect what he's like when he's busy all the time. It's like how he feels inside when he's hanging around with the others, even when he's not actually talking. Even though he is really shy and always looks like he's about to burst into tears, he's actually a pretty happy and friendly person. Not only that, but he's naturally a curious person that likes to look for interactions. I thought I'd use his theme to show that. And of course, the extra instrument in his theme is like bells, like jingle bells, though it low-key sounds like a tambourine like Yellow's. But yeah, he's a nice little dude. He just likes to munch on marshmallows and look at pretty and sparkly things. He's good. Here's his full sprite and some of his others. In total, he has 19 sprites, which is the least out of everybody. He doesn't really emote in his face much. He tends to have the same expression even when he's happy. He's just chronically sad looking. He also has a thing about never making eye contact, so practically all of his sprites have him looking away. Hope you liked listening and watching. I know there's not a whole lot to see when his entire sprite is white and light gray. It was definitely a challenge for me, the one who hates working with white. Next on the list is gray, so I hope to see you around for it. We're almost done. Take care, stay safe.